My entitled mother demanded my house because my pregnant sister needs it more than me. As far as I can remember, my 28-year-old sister has been my mother's golden child, but not my father's. I'm 31. When I was a teenager, my mother cheated on my father with an old high school lover and has always been bossy, manipulative, and narcissistic. Our mother thought she could rule me with a snap of the finger and command me like a dog. Unfortunately, my sister was her enemy. Very degrading. My sister constantly supported her. I moved in with my dad full-time when our parents divorced, but my sister stayed with my mom. They were alike and rarely spoke to my father, except about money. Though I'm more like my dad, he was business-oriented and taught me his trade at 16. I got good at it. I became a partner in my father's company after 12 years. Everything was excellent. However, tragedy struck 8 months ago. Due to long-term smoking, my father became immunocompromised and died at 60 from COVID-19. After a video call funeral for my father, I saw my mother and sister for the first time in years. My father requested cremation and burial at a local cemetery. No body or casket. My mother remained disinterested as my sister grieved. I wasn't surprised. My father laughed at her when she screamed at him that he owed her more money last time she saw him. He only paid alimony and child support as required by law. He gave my sister $30,000 for college. A judge ruled 10 years after the divorce that he no longer had to provide my mom money. She's not broke. She works at the same job for nearly 30 years, owns the old family home we shared, and rents 2 rooms to Airbnb regularly. After the funeral, my dad's will was read. He believed that if excessive smoking didn't kill him, something else would. He laughed about it in a taped video. Most of his will went to me, all of his assets, and most of his business and home income. He left my sister a 2015 Nissan Altima and $10,000 cash. My mother only received $1,000 and a few other goods she claimed after the divorce. I received the rest after that. My girlfriend lives in the house my father left me. My sister went from 2 years of community college to living with her boyfriend and working part-time online for years. She became pregnant, but had a heartbreaking miscarriage. We were rarely in touch, so no one told me until after the burial. After lockdown, her boyfriend's job started downsizing and he was only able to work part-time, which hurt her and his finances to the point that he told her she needed to find better work as he was looking for a second job. She became pregnant again. She and her boyfriend were careful, yet they call it their miracle baby. I was unpleasantly surprised when my mother and sister knocked on my door one evening. They entered my living room without asking and settled in. My girlfriend and I looked confused. I asked why they came. My sister laughed, looked around, opening doors, evidently touring my home. My mother sat on my sofa and snapped her fingers for a cold bottled water. When my girlfriend brought her water, I inquired why they were there. My sister was excited and disregarded me to keep rummaging around my house. "Mommy, it's great," she shouted from down the hall. "Yes, she still calls her mommy," my mother finally stated. "I think it's time you did your brotherly duty." I said, "What?" "Since I was your father's sole spouse, my mother said this house should have gone to me after his death. You can fix this. You can afford a new house with your income. Since she's pregnant, your sister needs this one more. Because I am graceful, you can stay in one room and pay all the bills till you leave." I said, "That's not happening. You don't order me around, especially in my home." As always, my mother snapped her fingers and shouted, "Stop, I'm your mother. You'll follow my orders because I'm in charge and brought you into this planet. In your eyes, I'm God. So when I say jump, you say how high. I own this house and your sister will live here. As a courtesy, I'll give you 2 weeks until your official eviction to pack and transfer the deed to me." I grabbed my phone. Mom stood up and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'll do what I should have done when this started. I'm calling the police to remove you from my home." She swiped my phone and knocked it away. She tried to step on it, but I grabbed it first. My mother slapped me across the face. I retaliated twice as hard, knocking her back into the couch. "How could you?" she shouted, holding her hand over her reddening and makeup. Smeared face in horror. Back on my phone, I threatened to call cops if she didn't leave. My sister ran in between us, extending her arms out and telling me to be a good big brother for once. "Oh, I'm a lousy sibling," I snapped. "I worked since I was a teenager. Last I checked. You sat on your butt playing video games or talking to your buddies all day while I did all the housework. And you stole my money to go shopping after you spent all your allowance. You're a thief and mooch. I owe you nothing. You two leave before I dial this last number," I said. "Mommy." My sister started crying like a baby and said, "Stop him." My mother hugged her, kissed her cheeks, and glared at me. She said, "If you contact the police, I can just tell them you hit me, and who knows? I could say to everyone that you wanted to do a lot worse to a poor pregnant girl." I doubt that would benefit you. If you hadn't noticed, my girlfriend over there has had her phone out recording the whole time, so we have evidence of you assaulting me first and saying you'd lie to the police. I doubt that would help your employment or Airbnb reputation, I replied. My mother would have blown me up like a tactical nuclear, if looks could kill. But she swiftly deflated and pulled my screaming sister out by the arm. My sister was acting like a toddler and broke free from our mother to have a tantrum on my porch step. I looked at my mother and remarked, "See, this is the result of your spoiled upbringing." She stared at me, and my mother tried to get my sister off my front steps. But she grabbed the porch handrail and kept repeating, "You promised me." My mother flipped me the bird and resumed dragging my sister off the porch. After a few minutes, she convinced my sister to leave by calling me a nasty and callous jerk who will go to hell. My mother took my sister to the car, gave me one more sneer, and drove off. I assumed that was it, but after a few days, friends and family started sending me messages online. Most of them were angry, but others just curious. I couldn't see what they were saying on Facebook since my sister and mother blocked me, but my girlfriend could. We screenshotted everything. They called me a greedy, uncaring jerk who took my sister's inherited house by paying off Dad's will lawyer, which is a lie. I provided my father's lawyer copies of all the Facebook screenshots and my girlfriend's video of my mother. He intended to write a cease and desist, but I wanted to take it further, so he sent them a letter I told him to write by express mail that had to be signed as proof. My mother yelled at me the day the letter arrived. I informed her that if she and my sister didn't redact all the untrue social media posts they made about me and reveal the truth, I'd send all the information I had to her family, her work, and upload the videos we recorded of her online. Then sue her. She called me ridiculous and said she did what she did for my sister, then lectured me on how my sister still needed my house more than me. I firmly told her I didn't care what she thought and would end her career if she didn't redact everything and reveal the truth. "Fine, you win," she responded reluctantly. "Do your thing and keep the silly house," she said before hanging up. That night, their profiles lost all dishonest posts. My mother unblocked me and everyone else and apologized, saying they jumped the gun and thought my sister needed my house more than me because she's broke and pregnant. But the house was rightfully mine, according to my father's will, and they knew that before he died, so she had no right to claim it. My sister also apologized, but mostly simply repeated what our mother said, claiming she just followed her ideas and then blaming her actions on her pregnancy hormones. Many angry responses flooded my mother and sister's pages for trying to seize my house. I got a lot of sorry and nasty messages from individuals who believed her, but it only showed me who was on her side since they accepted her garbage so quickly.
Oh my God. I heard Stephanie bought followers for her own dog's Instagram page.